Hey, 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 it's everybody's favorite FPS YouTuber. Just kidding, people don't even watch me for Phantom Forces anymore. And somehow, someway, we still have people asking for Roblox score on my channel. But I've fallen so far because I am now officially a YouTube Shorts YouTuber and a content reacts guy. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. But in order to fall, you actually need to be up, so... But let's get on topic here. Today, I want to talk about the best and worst FPS games on Roblox. Even though I don't necessarily make a lot of FPS content now, I still play Roblox quite frequently and enjoy me a small amount of shooting. So why don't we go ahead and start with the worst Roblox shooter games out there, because there are a lot of them. In fact, all of my Roblox DM message requests usually are of bad Roblox FPS games that somebody made in 10 minutes. But I would like to focus with a specific genre of these FPS games that keep popping up like no tomorrow. Realistic FPS games. And maybe put the word realistic in quotation marks, because almost none of these games are realistic. And when they use the word realistic, they really just mean that the guns look semi-realistic with the mesh system that Roblox has. And another small caveat is the fact that none of these gun systems are actually original, and every single game basically uses the same gun system, and they somehow never figure out how to properly implement it, so the guns are really janky. For example, when you look at realistic shooter in Roblox, the first game that you actually get is a game called Realistic Guns. And when you go in that game, the guns are realistic, kind of, but one of the first things I noticed when I actually hopped into the game was the fact that my crosshair was my Roblox mouse. And it's not like this game is new or anything, because this game was literally made in 2021 and actually still gets updated to this day. But I don't know, I feel like if I really cared about an FPS, I would make sure the crosshair would be the first thing I'd get right. But who really knows, because if I had to put my money on it, I would bet that this is just meant to be a cash grab. Like, seriously, they have a lot of badges in this game, but yet can't fix the most basic problem. And it's just not this game in particular. I don't like calling games out one by one like this, but this is literally the first thing you look up when you look up realistic shooter. Funnily enough, though, one of the most realistic games on Roblox, Frontlines, is actually number 3 with 1.3k players. But if you're looking for new Roblox games, rule of thumb, if it has the word realistic in it, do not play it, because chances are it's garbage. And if you're looking for realistic games to play, I'll give you a quick little rundown of a few games I personally enjoy. If you're looking for something like Arma 3, an ultra-realistic milsim shooter, then I'll have to point you to Deadline, because Deadline is by far the most realistic game on Roblox, and it is not for the faint of heart. I say this because you could literally be walking around and then boom, everything goes black. And I know I've played this game multiple times on my channel before, but I cannot state how good this game is. Even though I haven't made a video on it in a while, there's definitely a giant appeal behind this game. I could probably spend 30 whole minutes explaining the depth that this game goes into with guns and gunplay, but because this is a more general video of like the best shooters and worst shooters, we'll save that for another day. But if you're like me, somebody who enjoys more arcadey games and it also enjoys realistic graphics, Frontlines. Now, I know there's a lot of controversy behind Frontlines, and there's a lot of things that you guys don't know. And unfortunately, I can't talk about it because I'll get in some serious legal trouble. But here's what I can say. When I originally made that Frontlines exposing video of the developer, I actually, a few months back, took the video down once I realized exactly what happened. And to be honest with you, the developers of the game that we originally were mad at aren't actually the bad people in the situation. And this entire thing really comes down to the fact that there's one person holding this entire thing up. And unfortunately, because of this, Frontlines probably won't receive another update for a long time or at all. And the worst part is, I know the developers of Frontlines really want to get back into this. But because of the legal troubles they're going through right now with the game, it's pretty safe to say that Frontlines is finished. But that doesn't mean you can't play it still, because it still has 1.2k active players. And despite it not being updated in God knows how long, I still think that this is one of the best arcade shooters on Roblox. And maybe it's not on Phantom Forces level yet. However, for what the game had, it is phenomenal. And speaking of Phantom Forces, if you want to know my all-time favorite shooter, period, the best of the best, the cream of the crop, it's Phantom Forces. Because if we're being honest, there is no game like Phantom Forces. And the games that have tried being like Phantom Forces, like Bad Business, well, it kind of sucks. And the reason why Phantom Forces hold a special place on my heart is because it's a fast-paced movement arcade shooter. There is quite literally no other game that I have ever played where I have felt so comfortable and so confident in just beaming everybody. The closest thing that reminds me of Phantom Forces is probably peak Black Ops 3. Because let's be real, if you experienced Black Ops 3, you know it was the pinnacle of Call of Duty. But don't ask my editor what his favorite Call of Duty is because he says Infinite Warfare is amazing. But before we make fun of him for his choice in Call of Duty, it's important to note that everybody has their own opinions and we should respect everybody besides New Yorkers. God damn it, roast him in the comments, please.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not about to take this slander. Hold up a second. This you, little bro? This you? Oh, why?
But speaking of people and things I hate, let's talk about Bad Business. Bad Business, oh bad business. Do I hate Bad Business? I will say objectively, I don't think Bad Business is a bad game. However, there's one thing that really just irks me about Bad Business that I can never get out of my head, and it's the fact that it takes 500 million bullets to kill somebody. It's like it's Fortnite, except with no chug jugs. I understand if high time to kill shooters are your thing, but for me, absolutely not. But what if we have made it this far in the video and you still have not found something that has appealed to you yet? Well, let's talk about 1v1 games. And let's talk about the worst 1v1 game first. Pistol 1v1. Now, I can't say for certain if Pistol 1v1 was the pioneer of this genre on Roblox, but it definitely was the first 1v1 game I played on Roblox. And well, for its current time, I don't think it was inherently bad, but looking back on it now and playing it now, it's just One of the biggest drawbacks that this game has is that the fact it limited itself to pistols only. Pistol 1v1 essentially signed their own death warrant by limiting themselves to a subgenre of guns. As of writing this, Pistol 1v1 only has 65 active players right now. And for a 1v1 game that's competitive, that's not good at all. And from the last time I played it, this game was pretty buggy. Things like people getting outside the map, things like the game just stopped working, really have become all too common in this game. And so unfortunately, because of those issues and the lack of a proper matchmaking system, this game was just doomed to fail. But what if there was a game out there that fixed all the grievances that Pistol 1v1 had and made a overall fun experience with fair matchmaking? Yeah, I think everybody knows where I'm going with this one, but let's segue to Rivals! I can say hands down that Rivals is probably my favorite newest Roblox shooter. It's like Pistol 1v1 in the fact that it's a 1v1 game, but it can even go up to 5v5s. But this game does everything right. There are a diverse catalog of guns you can use, unfortunately some of them being pay to win, but I think me and my editor can both agree that this is just awesome. And on top of that, they actually have a reasonably okay matchmaking system that doesn't require you to fight the same people over and over in the lobby like Pistol 1v1 had. However, I have noticed whenever you matchmake, sometimes you'll get people that like to abuse certain maps and certain guns. But besides balancing issues with the guns, overall, I would say this game is reasonably fair. I like this game a lot too because there's also a lot of tech you can do to make you move faster or get from point A to point B faster. For example, throwing a grenade at yourself sends you flying in the air like it's a TF2 rocket. And it's also extremely satisfying beating your opponents and getting on a pretty long win streak. But honestly, that's really all I have for FPS games right now. This year has low-key been kind of stale for shooters, but it's okay. Even if there aren't new games coming out, we can always enjoy some of the older ones. Because at the end of the day, maybe the real winners were the friends we made along the way. Right? No? No? Alright, goodbye.